So you observe that in spite of the challenges with packaging and branding, the issue of alternative medicine is widely accepted, especially when it comes to the use of herbs in the environment. Virtually every street, in the corner of every street, you see it there. What do you think is largely responsible for this development?
What is responsible is what we have called it. So let's go back to the beginning. Why call it alternative medicine? Why?
Okay, let's take it from there. Why call it alternative medicine? That's a good question. Because over time, since the colonial era and now, people have often turned to orthodox medicine. So it has been seen like that is what you can apply or what you could use whenever you have any challenge for cure. But before that time, we do know that our forefathers and other Africans were treating themselves with roots and herbs. So, but the leaders
medicine.
Okay, but it wasn't called medicine. They were just like things to cure. So
can we go back?
No, let's get to what you asked and let's pick it up from there.
Okay.
So it's now alternative medicine.
Okay.
But the alternative that we've made it, is it really alternative?
Thank you.
Or it was those who called it alternative not being aware that that is actual medicine or what should be used to cure?
They knew what they were doing.
Allow Chooks to, is the guest here.
I understand it's a guess, and I just asked him a question.
It's nice she said that, because he just told us exactly what it was. They knew what they were doing, and they did it for a purpose. Typical example.
So when you say
China, do they call their medicine alternative medicine?
So what you're trying to say is...
Japan, do they call their medicine alternative medicine? No. India, do they call their medicine alternative medicine? No. But they were all colonized, right? Good. So this is business. So when I come to the market, what do I try to do? I try to make you buy my goods. And the best way to make you buy my goods is to either make sure that you look at your goods as your goods are not good enough. Then you purchase mine. Then now what happens? When you leave your house empty and unkept, what happens? It deteriorates. After a while, you forget it. After a while, it falls down and it becomes a dilapidated building. That is what we've done to ourselves. Now, we are talking about medicine today. Same thing is happening to our culture, our language, our way of life. We have embraced that of the colonizer and left our own, which is better. Let's go back to the beginning. For those of us that are Muslims or Christians, let's go back to the beginning. In the beginning, what did God say? He said, I've given you food and herbs. He said, your food is your what? Your medicine. I don't know if I'm making sense. There was no paracetamol then. Adam didn't drink paracetamol, for those of us that are Christians. The prophet didn't drink ampiclos. Which means that whatever he took to take care of himself was within him. I love what Doctor said. Everything we need is within us. Now, what has business and the pharmaceutical industry done? They have brought the word patent. They have brought the word regulation, whereby I can't push or give you something to drink except somebody in Geneva signs it. I don't know if you understand. Some big pharmaceutical company has made it sure that I can't bring any product they have except they gather somewhere outside this country and sign it. And we now take it hook, line, sinker. Let's go back to 3 years ago, the COVID drugs. What are the issues we are having now? Big business. It's all about business. Let's bring it back home. The first time we started having major importation of malaria medicine, quinine, your chloroquine, that we are not using anymore, where did they get it from? Here. Where? Your dogoyaro tree. Now we are doing, what's the combination? Something atenomycin or so. It's also here, just from plants. Everything we need is here. Now with the advent of technology and industrialization and a lot of radiation, new ailments came up. Things like cancer were not that rampant before. Things like tumor were not that rampant before. But if you also try and if we date back and read our history, a lot of these things, the cure was always around us. So now, if these ailments are coming up and they are telling us, okay, there is no cure for this, there is no cure for that, have we looked inward to say, okay, those that were there before us, how did they treat this? And it's not as if maybe the lifespan has increased. It has not. Our forefathers lived longer than we do now. So what were they eating or drinking that made them live that long? Same thing with Asian countries. They are not that, they are not forcefully embracing all your packaged chemicals. A lot of their medicine come from their natural resources. So why are we not looking inward? Why are we depending solely on the pharmaceutical industries? What they push to us is what we tell our people that that is the best. What happened to our own?
All right. In order to maximize the opportunities and the prospect provided by herbs or alternative medicine, what should be okay, you have issue with the name. Yes. Okay, okay, great. What should be the role of agencies like the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, okay, NAFDAC, okay, and then the Standard Organization of Nigeria? Because like you said, you make reference to example of the Chinese man. You have the Chinese herbs, the Chinese tea that we consume here. If you look at the packaging and the branding. And another challenge has to do with the fact that the herbs, they are not in dosages, You can't prescribe that, okay, you take 2 in the morning like the orthodox medicine, which is all about perception and branding. So what should be the role of organizations like Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, NAFDAC, and Standard Organization of Nigeria?
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not anti-establishment. I am very, very African. Let's go back to the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. What syllabus were they taught? What were they taught? They were taught the white man's pharmacy. I don't know, the 6 years you spent in school and add 1 year to do a master's, they were taught the white man's pharmacy. They were taught the white man's drugs. Is there any issue in that? No. So your pharmacology, your microbiology, if they get to do any of that, to what extent did they do research on African medicine? I don't know if you understand. So you've groomed somebody for 5-6 years, telling him that his own medication that his own fathers or his own great-grandfathers used, he shouldn't even look at that. He should look forward to your own imported medicine, your own imported education. So what do you expect him to do? His mind is not there. He has lost that. Even the people in the village have almost lost that. Talking to a friend, you now sent to school to go learn someone else's medication. I'm not saying the medications are wrong. I don't know if you understand me. But what has happened to our own? So the pharmacist is not thinking African medicine. He's not thinking his native medicine. He's not thinking the remedies that are just behind his house. He's looking at the pills that are coming from pharmaceutical companies, the combination from pharmaceutical companies, how he's going to administer it and give you a relief or a cure if possible, and the dosage is going to give it to you and the combination is going to give it to you to avoid whether it's reactions or after effects or get you well. So that is what he's been trained to do. He has not his eyes are not open, shut to remedies at home.
So what should be the role of, like I asked, NAFDAC in terms of regulation and standardization?
NAFDAC is just to make sure that we don't take things that are bad. You don't make things that are bad. You don't import things that are bad. That what you're importing or you're making or is good. That's for NAFDAC. Now, for regulation, I think first we need to introduce the study of herbs in schools. A lot of students at the end of your 4 or 5 years, they go do what's it called, project, and they take a plant and look for the medicinal properties in that plant, and that is where it ends. We should have I almost call them children. We should have students go to school for 4 or 5 years studying indigenous plants, studying indigenous medicine, studying the history that got us to where we are, studying the history that was there before. That's why pharmaceutical companies are doing well, because they have a backlog of history of where they are coming from. Do you know what they will now do? They will now go pick up a study of a particular research done in any country, and when they see the active ingredients in that particular thing, when they get it, they leave wherever it is and go back to their headquarters and now synthesize it and now give it back to you as drugs and put a patent on it. I don't know if I'm making sense. They now put a patent on it. What originally was not theirs. Knowledge was not theirs, but because they could get it, buy it, and mass produce it, they put a patent on it. And you now come to buy. Forgetting that this thing actually came from here.
All right, let's look at the acceptability of the traditional medicine. All right, as it is right now, there are some persons who have accepted it and make use of it. There are others who have gotten so used to orthodox medicine. Now, do you think it will happen that it gets that widespread acceptability where people can be treated solely using traditional medicine without having a mixture of both of them, given the presentation of some of this traditional medicine and how it feels taking them or even from the taste? Is there a way to modify these things that in their presentation and in their use, it's almost similar to that of orthodox medicine for widespread acceptability?
I always like starting from whoever is asking the question. Is it possible for you to see yourself talk, watch yourself talk?
It is possible.
Good. And you see the way you sound?
Yes.
Good. So if I'm a viewer, I might not listen to what you're saying. All I'm saying is, that presenter is sounding sweet. Because of what? You've studied your craft. You know your craft. You present your craft well. I don't know if you understand. Yes. It's the same thing. Now, the pharmaceutical companies, they've studied their craft. They know their craft and they present it well. And it's in your face. Now, let's go back to our local medicine. Let's go back to our herbs. We might have studied our craft. We might know our craft. But we're not presenting it well. Typical example, if you step down the street of this beautiful broad street, before you walk 3-5 poles, you see a beautiful lady selling agbo. The first thing you look at, she's selling agbo, black, yellow, green, all in some containers, and she has a cup. Then let's say you're a banker, you're stepping down from your beautiful office. You first look around, am I the one that will come and buy agbo from this girl? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Then the next thing you now say, okay, if I buy this agbo now, I should now mix it in a cup and give me to drink. Why? Because in our mind's mind, it doesn't look appealing. This is all about customer service, buying. You buy what appeals to you. Before we now talk about efficacy or not, you buy what appeals to you. Now, we need to be able to make these things appeal to us first. Before we now talk about whether it's taste, color, or how does it come, the form in which it comes, how they dispense it, it has to appeal to you first. That's where marketing comes in. That's where a lot of education comes into it. So we need to embrace the ones that are working. I'm not saying all are working though. The ones that are working, we need to be able to say, we need to present it to whoever is going to be the customer to buy those particular things. And can it be appealing? Yes. It's education. It's education. It's continuous education.
All right.
Alabuko is made here, hope you know.
Okay, so we're going to get into some free advert for brands that have been able to package their own traditional medicine. We'll move on. But coming to the efficacy of these things, and if they are to be refined, just like we have in the orthodox medicine, will it in any way interfere with the efficacy? Because from what we've talked about before, is there some form of spirituality attached to traditional medicine? If there is, packaging and giving instructions for use, dispensing as we find the orthodox medicine, will it interfere with the potency of the traditional medicine?
Okay.
For the medicine itself, the application, because there are some that are not necessarily drugs or medications, but they're treatments. that are given, maybe for those who were pregnant, for those with injuries, you know, for different kinds of things.
Okay, this is where history plays a very big role. Now, we don't take things and leave others. Before the advent of Christianity or Islam, our forefathers worshipped something. I don't know if you understand. Yeah. Good. So our forefathers had a religion they worshipped before the white man came, before the introduction of Christianity or Islam. And when our forefathers came, what they were worshipping is the same thing they were worshipping when these particular prescriptions and drugs and herbs were being used. So we can't take the drugs and leave the environment from where the drug came. That does not mean that is the spiritualism that it's the active ingredient in the drug. It was just a means of communication between the practitioner and his craft. A lot of that has been watered down, but some of them still remain. So when someone tells you he has to do this incantation on top dogoyaro, just laugh. Let him do his incantation. Go and plug your dogoyaro. Your quinine is still in your dogoyaro. Am I making sense? Yes, so it's just the religion that has been there when some particular practitioners were practicing this. Now, spiritualism is different on its own. Herbalist and a herbalist is completely different
from the practitioner,
from a native doctor.
What's the difference?
Now, a native doctor is a spiritualist that can also be a herbalist. A herbalist is not a spiritualist.
Just a specialist.
He's just a specialist in herbs.
You've been one. Because he's answering, I've been one.
That from his experience.
I don't know if I'm going to go. Now, people call them shaman. English. A shaman is a spiritualist. A herbalist is one who is knowledgeable in herbs, application and use of herbs. So this is where we need to draw the line. Now, just like Doctor was saying, a lot of some con men will try to bring in some mysticism with herbs. It's just abracadabra. That's
okay. All right. Let's look at the business side of this. For any investor who is watching or is interested in investing in this sector, because part of our duty is to point out some of the areas that people could take advantage of, the opportunities, the prospects. What are the areas you think an investor who wants to come into this space to invest, what are the areas they can invest on? Perhaps a good example is technology, which is lacking here. What other areas do you think an investor could look into, take advantage of it, and make our alternative or that sector better for what it is now?
Well, if anyone is coming to invest, first the person is investing for profit. The person is not coming to throw money at you because he loves you. First profit before we talk about.
But the market is there. The
yes,
demand is there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So whoever is coming, for all investors, please, we are not telling you to come and make our life better. No, bring your money, you will make profit. But when you make profit, we'll all be better for it. Now, say there is enough, more than enough land to cultivate medicinal plants in this country. Before you even start talking about cultivation, we have more than enough medicinal plants, trees, be it quinine. From that same dogoyaro, you make oils, the oils you use for pharmaceuticals. They are here. They are bound in the north. You see, if you travel from Kaduna to Adamawa, you get to a place, you'll be asking yourself, what's happening here? The trees are just lying there. Nature has given it to us. So if you're looking for oils from Dawa Dawa, you get it for free. I can tell you for that. Just get your label and get how you want to extract it. You get it for free. If you're looking for oils for quinine, you get it for for next to nothing. If you're looking for the quinine itself, you get it for less. The trees abound. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not just for a whole lot of other, if it's cashew, it's abound in the east, it's abound in the north. If it's a lot of them. So your raw materials, your plants, your trees are all here. If it's rubber, yes, we might not be using, what is it called? We might not be using, tapping enough rubber for manufacturing. But if it's if it's the bark for medicinal uses, they are bound here. So the labor force is here too. So investing in that particular sector is something that is a profit for whoever is coming. And don't get scared or think about what they talk about in the Western media. I tell you that Nigeria is not safe. Nigeria is safe for business.
All right, let's look at the role of the Ministry of Health and regional urban planning in this aspect. Because when development happens in cities, some of these forest areas are turned to urban centers. What should be the ideal practice before the felling of trees, before the clearing out of forest areas, knowing that potentially there are lots of curative plants or trees in these areas? Before you clear out an area, what should be the procedure and what should be the role of the Ministry of Health towards strengthening the traditional medicine sector?
Okay. For a long time, the Ministry of Health did not have a department for traditional medicine. But currently, they have a department for traditional medicine. Hajia Zainab used to head that particular department. I can't remember. I think she's still there, though. But she was there for a while. Now, the issue we have here is cooperation between ministries. A lot of ministries do their own thing. I collect my allocation, I go do what I want to do. You collect your own, you go do what you want to do. Let's see who outdoes, who beats the other in implementation. Now, we need ministries to be able to work hand in hand. Ministry of Health knows that, okay, if you fell trees, if you clear out a portion of the forest, there are bound to be consequences. Not just development. There are bound to be consequences. Now, typical example, a lot of the diseases we are getting them because we are getting too close to wild animals. The wild animals is getting too close to us. Example, some of your, what's it called? What happened? What was the last one that beat China and co? The respiratory disease that came 3 years ago.
Okay, the
COVID, yes, the one before COVID
is
too.
The anthrax? Anthrax
has been there for a while. The one before COVID too. Both a lot of them came majorly because we were getting too close to wild animals. We're getting too close. They were comfortably there. Now we are clearing their habitat and we are getting too close to them. Now, these are things that the Ministry of Health can say, okay, good. If you decide to clear this place, then give yourself 2-3 years. Replant this particular place. Take another place. Wherever there we've had deforestation, go there and replant. When you are done replanting, they can clear this place. Those states and Ondo tried doing that. They tried reclaiming some part of their forest. It's been like 4-5 years ago. Well, they're still a bit successful though. If you're traveling between Ore and Benin, you see some of those trees growing back. But if you want to clear a place, there are places that you've cleared that maybe development can't get there in the next 50 years, then go replant that place. That is doable, not difficult.